Market Hong Kong. Please welcome back your Vice President of Sales, Executive Field Vice President, and $1 Million Club member, Mr. Jim Winkler.
All right. What an event, guys. How are you? Still excited? Things are good? All right, let's bring this home. What a great event you have had and what a great job you've done. I'm excited to spend this next 4 hours with you. Just kidding. To spend this time with you and share a little bit with you, sort of a journey through becoming an unfranchised owner, and maybe I'll be able to share with you some ideas that can help you grow your business as well and take it to new heights, which is what we want to do as we leave this event. Here you see my family, and I'm going to start off with this because for me, this is where everything starts. I have 5 children. I don't know if I would call them children anymore because they're all bigger than me. And then you see my wife, Lisa, right there. That's John. That's Lane, that's Jordan, that's Jake, and that's Jordan. When Lisa and I got married, we each had 3 children, and 2 of them were named Jake, and 2 of them were named Jordan, believe it or not. So that's my family, and a lot about, what drives me still in this business with what I love about it. And they were little when I started. I'll show you some pictures later on of how little they were. This was taken at this last year's Christmas. But before Market America, I know that is me. I was this young guy who went to high school and unfortunately didn't get real good grades. I had trouble focusing, if you can believe that. But what I did do is during the time I was in high school, I started playing a sport. I started playing tennis. And I absolutely fell in love with the sport to the point where I would play 7 days a week. And I started very late in life. I started when I was 14 as a tennis player. Most tennis players who end up being good start when they're maybe 4 or 5 years old. So I thought I had to make up time by working harder than everybody else. What ended up happening, I went on to school, went on to college, university, and went on to become what we call an All-American in the United States. I put more hours in than anybody else. I worked harder than everybody else. I was not more talented, but I was willing to do more than they were. And I think that really comes back to our business as well. By the way, that good-looking guy right there, that's my dad, who's now 82 years old. In that picture, he's younger than I am right now. And we still play competitive tennis tournaments together to this day, with him being 82. So it's wonderful. It's something we've done for a very long time. But the lesson on this is hard work's gonna overcome talent, isn't it? And anyone in this room, if you make the decision that you wanna be great at something, and I'm gonna say you wanna be great at our business, if you'll put the effort and the time in, your talent will become better and the hard work will get you there. From there, when I got out of school, I went to work for a company called Russ Berry, and that's actually right there. That man is Russ Berry that I'm with. And I was 22 years old, 21 when I came out of school. I started in sales. I was horrible. Almost got fired in my first 3 months. They kept me for one reason, because I was out working everybody. Even though I was bad, I was working harder and they could see it. So what ended up happening is over the time of the first year, the second year, that hard work started to pay off and I went from bad to good, because in sales, if you'll do the work, you'll learn how to get better at it. Well, that company I was at, there was a product that came out, and you'll see it right here. It's called a troll doll. Has anybody ever seen those? I thought it was the ugliest thing I had ever seen in my life. 1992 is when that came out, same year Market America started. And when that product came out, I thought, this thing is ugly, it's never gonna do anything. We would sell into, and by this time I was a director of sales for the company, so I was managing 24 people. I was their youngest director of sales in history, and we had this product that the owner's saying we need to talk to the gift stores with. So I talked to my team and I said, look, maybe he sees something we don't, let's go talk to him. And that product ended up becoming the biggest thing in the giftware industry. For about a 2.5-year period, that was the hottest product you could find and everybody wanted it. My income doubled in 1 year. Imagine whatever you're making today and your income doubles in 1 year. Better than that. What's better than doubling your income? I worked 3 less days a week to make that money. So I was working less, making more because I was in front of a trend. And that's important to understand. Trends are very important. But there's also problems with trends. Company I worked for, their whole focus was on this one product category. And what happened is when the trend died, do you remember Beanie Babies? Beanie Babies came out, and when they came out, the troll craze died. Now, guess what happened to my income? It went from here to back down here. Guess what I tried to do? I said, okay, I'll work harder. If I put in more work, I'll make more money. But when you don't have products people want, it doesn't matter how hard you work. So I learned 2 valuable lessons with that. One was get in front of a trend. If you can get in front of trends, you can make money easier than you can any other way. The second one I learned is it's not all about hard work. I believe in hard work, but I believe if you don't work smart and work hard, then it's not going to work out for you. Now, in 1995, I got a call from a recruiter, and he was asking me to look at another company. I met with him, and he said, I want to make you my vice president of sales. So I became vice president of sales for a company called the Postcard Factory, and this was actually taken last year, but that was my boss there. I reported directly to the owner of the company. Wonderful gentleman I worked with for 3 years, and during that period of time, we took his company and we doubled it. So imagine the sales coming in and doubling it in 3 years, and he said, hey, I'd like you to move to where the corporation is based. Now, the reason I'm telling you this story is because timing is important in everything. If someone had asked me to look at Market America the first year I started with that company, I would have said no because I was so busy. I loved what I had. I was making more money than I'd ever made in my life. But if you asked me in year 3, I was traveling nonstop. I had young kids. I wanted to be home with them. I was trying to figure a way, how can I get back home? But I didn't want to give up that income to be able to do that. So when we did so well, Irving asked me to move to Canada, where the company's based, just outside of Toronto, wonderful area called Markham. When I declined, he told me if I didn't move, he was going to cut my pay. Has that ever happened? Have you ever heard of somebody who can make less money? So now I'm trying to figure out what to do. But a funny thing had happened along the way. January of 1997, I was on a vacation, and some friends got in front, we were at a resort. They walked across the resort and they took products in front of me. So they started drinking OPC, they started mixing up B complex, and guess what I said? I said, what's that? And they started talking to me about it, and guess what I did? I asked more questions, I tried it, I liked it, and so I asked the lady of the couple, I said, how do I get more of this product? She said, you can buy it from me. So I bought it from her, and I became a customer for 7 months with the company. Now, at this point, I haven't looked at it as a business. My friend calls me up, he says, I want you to look at the business you've been buying these products from. Guess what I say? Say, man, I'm busy, I don't know what it is. I'm trying to find something. I'm trying to find a business. What business am I not looking at? Market America at that point. And the reason I didn't is I just didn't know anything about it. I never heard anything about it. Finally, what happens is I sit down after canceling 2 appointments. By the way, a very important lesson is every time I canceled an appointment, he booked another appointment right away. Do any of you do they ever cancel appointments in Hong Kong? I would imagine they do, just like they do in the United States. And when they do, important thing is book an appointment right away. So one lesson, timing is everything. You talk to me my first year, I don't want to look at it. You talk to me my third year, I'm looking for something. Second lesson, take your products in front of people. Take your products in front of people so they'll ask you questions. Third lesson, if someone cancels, book another appointment right away. Finally, I sit down, I look at it, and the first time I see the business plan, it's sitting at a kitchen table looking at it, and I don't understand one thing I see. All I understand is I can get my products at cost, and I understand that my friend is really excited about this business he's been involved with for a couple years. His wife had really been building it for a couple years. Now he was getting involved. So I say, let me think about it. Has anyone ever heard that before? Say, let me think about it. He leaves. How much do I think about it? I don't think about it at all, just like most people don't. But he did something smart. Guess what he did when he left? He booked another appointment. He said, oh, you're going to think about it? Great. Let's book another appointment. We'll get back together. I said, okay, great. So then I realize he's coming over again. I sit down with him. He shows me the plan again. I still don't really understand it. But what I think is I'll help him out. I'll get my products at cost. I said to him, why doesn't everybody who loves the products do this? Because it's basically costing me nothing to get in the business because I was buying these products at retail and now I'm buying them at wholesale. This just makes sense to me. Then I become what's known as a closet unfranchise owner. Do you know what those are? It means I got my products and I put them in my closet except for what I was using, and I didn't look at the business any further. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my job. I've got these products I'm taking. Back then, we used to get something called a cassette tape. Does anybody know what a cassette tape is? So the cassette tape came, and one day I was working out and I was listening to the cassette tape. And there was this guy, J.R. Reidinger, on the tape. And he was saying how this company was going to change an industry, how things were going to be different, how he had put it together because he had eliminated all the flaws he had seen in other companies. And the biggest thing I heard, he said, the way you become successful is by helping other people become successful. See, as I'd gone up the corporate ladder, something had happened that I didn't like. The further I went in my old jobs, the less I was around people. I was doing marketing strategies, I was doing marketing plans, but I wasn't with the people like I used to be. And I love being with the people, just like I love being here with you. To me, this is everything. This is my fun part of what I do, is when I get to be with you. So I started thinking maybe this could be what I'm looking for. I'd looked at traditional businesses, I'd looked at other companies to start with. So I start doing research into over 40 different companies. And each one I look at, I start to realize why this company is special. Because of some of the things I shared with you yesterday, what makes us different. So I decide, okay, I'm gonna do this. And I work out where I'm gonna work for the company I had been working for in Toronto for 6 months. And at the end of 6 months, he's gonna pay me for 4 months. And at the end of that total time of 10 months, I have 0 income coming in. I don't have a business partner yet, and I don't have a customer yet. But I've decided Market America is going to be my future. So one of the lessons I'll tell you is you got to have faith sometimes. I believed what I saw. I had a big why. These were my 3 kids. And in 1997, this was taken right after I started with the business. This is who I wanted to hang out with. I was tired of being the dad who was gone all the time. I wanted to be the dad who could be around. I wanted to coach them in the sports they did and the different things they did, and I couldn't do it otherwise. So in the early days, I start off, and I love music. Anybody in here love music? Okay, I love music. But my first 2 years, I didn't listen to music. All I did was listen to Market America audios. And the reason I did that is I had never done any kind of home-based business, internet business. I'd never owned a business, and I needed to get my head right. I needed to learn the language of what we were doing. I needed to learn how to do this business. So I basically tried to listen and learn every single second I had. In my first 8 weeks, I sponsored 9 people. Now, that's a lot of people in your first 8 weeks. I had an advantage. I had been in sales for a number of years, and I had a lot of people with the way I had done business who trusted me. So when I said, I'm doing it, they said, I will do it with you. But the important thing is, not the 9 people who came in, but probably the 40 who told me no in my first 8 weeks. Because what I'm trying to get across is I didn't show it to one person a week. I showed it to as many people as I could. Remember when I was talking a few minutes ago and I said in tennis, if I wanted to be good, I had to catch up. So I played almost 7 days a week to get good. In Market America, I didn't do it once a week. I did it 7 days a week because I wanted to get it going. Now, I was working a full-time job at this time, and my job was typically anywhere from 50 to 60 hours a week. So if I could only do it an hour a day, I did it an hour. If I could do it 2 hours, I did it 2 hours. I did more on the weekends than I did during the week, but I managed to get something every day, and I kept my priorities pretty simple. I wanted to, as I brought people in, I wanted to get them activated, and I wanted to get them building as well. So if I brought Vicky in, okay, Vicky, we need to get to your people as fast as we can, and I would show the business plan for them. Even though I wasn't good, Vicky would be learning what to do. My first event was World Conference 1998. So even though I started at the end of August in 1997, because of my travel schedule, every weekend was taken up that we had a local event. So the first thing I went to was a major event like you're at right here. And I sat there, and there was this lady, and she was ranting and screaming, and she kept doing this. Her name was Elizabeth Weber. And she was making $1 million a year. And I said, I'm going to listen to this lady. And she said, if you want to move fast, try to work in groups. So I started trying to show the plan to 2 people at a time, or 3 people at a time, or 4 people at a time, at a coffee shop, in a home, whatever it was, and started moving quicker. Then I went to my first local seminar in March of 1998. So I brought 12 teammates with me. And it was the worst local seminar in the history of local seminars in Market America. I sat there, I had 12 people with me, and the couple on stage was fighting with each other. They didn't like each other. They were arguing. My sister drove 5 hours to come to the seminar. She's an accountant, and they were giving incorrect accounting advice for the business. This is back before the GMTSS was structured like it is now. And we know the speakers much better. And I sat there and I thought, I was literally crying. Because I thought, I've just ruined my new team. Here's what happened. All of a sudden, I turned around to apologize to one of the people on my team. And you know what she said to me? And this is where I learned the power of leverage, and that people from afar other people will listen to them, even if they're wrong sometimes. I turned around and the lady behind me goes, "Isn't this unbelievable?" And all I could think was, yes, it's unbelievable. And she's like, "This is amazing." See, what she loved, there was a segment on motives. And she loved that. She was so excited. She went and she bought her 3 tickets. I thought, here I was depressed. My team was excited. All right, everything's going to be okay. And it showed me that I just need to get them there no matter who the speaker is, no matter what's happening, get my team to those events. So after 6 months, I built the business up to about professional coordinator at that point. Now, again, I'm working hard. I didn't do it by showing up once a week. I didn't do it by working an hour a week. I was putting the time in, but then I went full-time with the business. And I know a lot of the people in the room, there's a lot of you who go full-time. But unfortunately, sometimes I see people go full-time, and instead of going full-time, they go full-time, and then they treat it like it's very, very part-time. And the mistake is doing that in the first couple years. You can do that once you've created a big team, but if you do it in the first couple years, that can be tough. So I used to set an alarm clock and be up and working by 8 a.m. when I was full-time. And the reason I did it, I didn't have a boss to say, you gotta be at work. I had myself. And I said, I'm gonna treat this like a job, but if I treat it like a job, it's gonna pay me millions, where my job did not pay me millions. I focused on simple things. You know, the funny thing about this business, everything that makes you money is free. Do you realize that? What makes you money? I focused on showing the plan. How much does it cost to show the plan? Nothing. I focused on selling products. Selling products made me money and generated BV. I focused on selling tickets and getting as many people as I could. At that first local seminar, I had 12. At my next local seminar, I had 45. At my next local seminar, I had 85. How many people could I get in front of other people to talk about the business? And then I believe that something was going on. Sometimes you have to have faith in what's going on. I don't know about you guys. There were times I drove home late at night from being out, showing the business, talking to people, and I would think, am I crazy? Is this really gonna work the way I think it's going to work? And I'd sit there and I'd say, well, I went to that big event and those other people were making money. And I always thought, if they can make money, I can make money. I can become successful at this. I just have to figure out what do I need to do and do more of it. And do more of it. You know, in the early days, it wasn't quite like it is now. I bought my first computer, and it was like $3,500 US. And it was huge. And it probably had less power in it than a kid's game has today. I had a cell phone that was about this big. Do you ever see those? I'd hold it up. You didn't email or text. You didn't Facebook. There was no social media. So if I wanted to talk to somebody, I had to either meet them or I had to call them. Drew the plan on paper. And I recommend that for everybody in this room, that you learn how to draw the plan on paper. Because if you can draw the plan on paper, you own the plan. The nice thing about today is you don't have to worry about, you don't have to do it because you've got flip charts and you have videos and you have all the different ways we can do it, which is great, which means you can get out and start showing the plan right away, but practice learning how to do it on paper so you really own it. There were no product trainings, motives trainings, TLS, ISM, all these other names. You know what we had? We had local seminars and we had UBPs. And you put them in your calendar and you went to every single one of them. And I really think we should do those same things today. You have the advantage of adding in those other things, but the local seminars and the UBPs are sort of the basics where we get started and we build with. We already believed in the shopping annuity. We just didn't know what it was called. Everyone you worked with, you bought everything you could from the company. And you tried it, and you saw if you liked it, and if you liked it, you kept buying it. I have used the same hair care products for 22 years. Royal Spa, the chamomile shampoo, and then I used the gel, and I used the hairspray for 22 years. I have taken OPC3. I just took some before I came up, and B-complex for 22 years. You tried what you had, and you built from there. We built from home to home to home, or apartment to apartment to apartment, or coffee shop to coffee shop to coffee shop, and just tried to show the plan. And you know what we did that I think we need to make sure we do? We had a lot of fun. You know what's fun is being together now, right? This is the fun part of the business. It's the part I love of the business. After a year, I hit National Supervising Coordinator, so I was now earning almost $10,000 a month with the company. But I had a problem. I was working, like I said, I was working 7 days a week. And the goal of the business is to what? Get your time back. Sometimes you have to put time in to get it back. I didn't feel secure because even though I was working hard and I had a good organization, I didn't see my teammates doing what I was doing. So luckily, I ran into this lady right here. Her name is Jackie Blasco, for those of you who don't know her. And she's not in my organization. She has no financial connection to me. But we were at a training, and I said, Jackie, you know, your team is so solid, so stable. What do you do? And she said, well, can I meet with you for about half an hour? I said, yeah, I would love it. Thank you so much. So I met with her, and she started asking me questions. One thing she said is, you know, do you show a lot of plans and sponsor? I said, I do. She said, does your team? I said, we do. She said, do you retail? I said, I do. She said, does your team retail? I said, I have no idea. And she said, okay, I think I found the problem. And she taught me that I needed to get my team moving product. And the more product we moved, the faster and more stable we were going to be in the business. And I learned that you have to retail personally and you have to teach your team to retail. That year, my stability as an organization changed completely. We did small product shows together. And you know, I had never done a product show in my life, a wellness event. I'd never got 3 or 4 people together and talked about products. I thought that's like the Avon person did that or something, you know what I mean? And she said, Jim, you're gonna have to do this if you wanna be successful. So I started getting people together and people started buying products. My teammates started duplicating and everything took off. Now during that time, one of my customers referred me 30 other customers. How'd you like to have a customer that refers you 30 customers? So 30 different customers. And I thought, okay, she's a great candidate for the business. So I would ask her every time, I'd say, why don't you take a look at the business? She'd say, no, I have no interest in the business. I'd say, why don't you look at the business? I have no interest. She'd go like this, no interest. One day she called me and she said, I want to look at that business. What had happened, she was a registered nurse, and for 15 years as a registered nurse, for the 3rd year in a row, they didn't give her a raise at work, even though she trained all the incoming nurses coming in. And she was frustrated, and she wanted to take a look at it. She had a 9-month little baby there. Whoops, hold on, let me go back. She had a 9-month little baby right there, and she had dark hair. Well, that lady ended up not only being a customer, but her hair changed color and she became my wife. So not only can you find great customers, but you might find great partners in life through the business as well. So my lesson is your customers can become your best business partners on this one, okay? And by the way, a lot of you don't know Lisa's story, but within a year, Lisa matched her income as an unfranchised owner. She matched her income as a nurse. She quit her nursing career. And when we got married, she was an executive supervising coordinator. She has earned millions in the business on her own with this. So a very, very great builder, which has supported and helped me so much and allows me to do what I do corporately when she can hold things together back at home. So there you can see that was 15 years ago in April 2nd. That'll be our 15-year anniversary when we got married. As we kept building our business, it kept growing. And in May of 2011, we hit the level of executive field vice president, which is in excess of $45,000 in a 4-week pay cycle with the company, which is interesting because that's also the exact same time I started corporately. In the fall of 2010, I got an email from Dennis Franks. And the email said that he'd like to talk to me about joining the corporate team. I thought it was a fake email. I didn't answer him. He emailed me again about 4 or 5 days later, and he said, I sent you an email that I would like to talk to you about joining the corporate team. Did you see it? I'm like, I called him up. I said, did you really send me an email? He goes, yeah, I want to talk to you. And I'm like, oh boy. Because I've been an unfranchised owner full-time for 14 years at that point. And if you've been a full-time unfranchised owner, what's one of the biggest benefits of being a full-time unfranchised owner? You control your time 100%. Am I right, Lisa? 100%. So what happens next? We meet with Dennis, because Lisa and I met with him. Dennis tells me, you're not going to have any control of your time anymore, but you're going to have a great time, and you're going to make an impact on a lot of people. And he said, we need more help. We're growing like crazy. He said, would you take the time? Would you consider it? So we did, and started corporately in May of 2011 as the Vice President of Sales for the company. Now, during that time, I have continued to build our business. Since I came on corporately, I am an unfranchised owner. I bleed as an unfranchised owner. I still sponsor. I still retail. I still buy tickets for every local seminar we have in our local area. Whether I'm there or not, I buy the tickets so I can sell them to new people. I buy 15 tickets for international convention. I buy 15 tickets for World Conference. Why? Because if I don't buy them, if I don't push myself, what'll happen? My team won't do it. So when we talk about you buying tickets, I'm not talking to you from a corporate standpoint. I'm talking to you from a leadership standpoint. I saw Elizabeth Weber on stage, and Elizabeth said, I buy 10 tickets to every major event. Guess what I did? I walked away from that. She got done speaking. I went up to the ticket booth, and I said, I'd like to have 10 tickets, please. They said, that's $2,000. I said, can I split the payments? They said, no, you got to pay for all of it right now. So I bought those tickets, and guess what I did with them? I sold them as quick as I could because I needed the money back. All right, and that's really, but you know what it is? It's a commitment. It's a commitment is what it is. You know, we all want to know, every one of us wants to know what the secret to this business is, don't we? I mean, I think that's the big thing that we look for. And, you know, I wanted to share with you a little bit of the background so as I talk about the secret, it makes more sense to you. What do we want? We want the magic word or phrase. We came here for 2 days hoping someone would slip up and say what it really takes to build it. That maybe when James would say something that could do it, or YK would tell how you really, really grow fast. You know, I call it magic Winkler dust. People are always like, can you throw some of that on me? We want the right people. We want big income. We want everything to be easier, don't we? That's what we're looking for. We're trying to figure it out, and we're here to do it. Here's the secret. The secret is there's no secret. The secret is it's creating the right habits and getting your work done when nobody's watching. See, we've become a society of everything we do, we take a picture, right? Look at me. But you know what gets you? It's not pictures that do it. It's showing the business plan. It's making the calls. It's sending the text. It's meeting with the people. It's caring about the people. You know, we all wish that social media would lead people to us, don't we? A ton of them. And I love social media, by the way. And I have recruited off of social media, so do not take this wrong. I think it's a great way, but I think you also have to do a lot of work nobody sees along the way. You know, one thing I'll tell you that I know, we've got some incredible $1 million earners, don't we? Incredible. Vicky, look, I see Vicky's picture on there. I see Lisa's. Joanne's on here. Look at Candy's on there. I mean, James, I could name more and more and more. I don't want to miss anyone, but as I look at that and I see these $1 million earners, here's what I know. I know almost every one of them, and they're wonderful people. But you know what they are? They're like me. They're people who just made a decision and put the extra work in is what they did. Like everybody, you see the finished product. I wish you could have seen me take 3 hours to show my first business plan. To one person, can you imagine someone looking at a business plan for 3 hours? And I left and they didn't get started. And you know, I didn't even wonder why. I knew why they didn't start. It's because I was horrible. But I didn't care. You know why I didn't care? Because I knew the second time I showed it, I'd be better. And I knew the third time I showed it, I'd be better than I was the second time. And I knew if you don't start doing it, you will never get better. And that's what all these $1 million earners did. We didn't know what to do, so we just did it, right? And that's what I want you to do. I want you to stay focused on some key categories. I want you to share the business plan because we need to expand distribution. We need to teach other people how to do it. We need to use and share our products. We need to attend and promote events. And we need to build in small groups. Build in small groups. Show the plan to more people at a time. I've always said you need to be all in. And by all in, I don't mean you have to quit your job. Don't do what I did. Okay? Don't quit a job when you have no other income. That's crazy. But you know what it did for me that was great? I never treated this business like a hobby. I treated it my entire career as if I had to support my family on it. And if you treated it like a career, even part-time, it'll pay you 10 times what your job will. And it'll be so much fun. But you have to decide, I'm all in. I'm going to do this. You know, this all sounds good, but there's always something that happens about this point. Somebody turns to the person next to them like, yeah, that was good for him, but that's different. It's different for me. You don't understand Hong Kong. You don't understand my situation. You don't understand what I'm going through. But Jim, if I had a residual but Jim dollar, it would be wonderful for every time I heard it. Here's what I know. Number one reason people don't succeed in life is the excuses they make. And that's why it's so important, and I hope you guys have heard me over and over. You need to be putting good things into your mind every single day. You need to be listening to good audios. You need to be reading good books. Because you have to learn to eliminate excuses. Because the number two reason people don't succeed is they have more excuses. When they run out of the initial ones, they come up with more. Do you know what the third reason people don't succeed? Constant excuses. Do you know people like that? They make an excuse about everything. And you got to stop making excuses, and we have to start making changes. Wouldn't you agree? So stop with the excuses and let's start making changes in what we're going to do. Here's a lesson, and this is one I want you to write down and remember. You can either make excuses or you can make money, but you can't make both. I'll repeat it. You can either make excuses or you can make money, but you can't make both. So every time you have an excuse pop in your head, cancel it out. Get rid of it. Think about why you want to build this business, not why you can't. How can I? How can I do it? Because everybody in this room has the talent to build it. You just have to have the desire and the mental toughness and the positivity looking forward to be able to build the business. But people say, Jim, that's all great, but you know, it must have been a lot easier for you than other people. Had to be a lot easier. Well, let me share a few things with you. I think everybody has challenges. I think we all have them as we're building a business. I started knowing that I had no income coming in 10 months if I didn't build this. That's a challenge. I had to be careful because if you don't do it right, you can come off as desperate when you're trying to build that fast. And I had to make sure people knew I wasn't desperate, but instead of desperate, I had desire, that I was going to do it. Sometimes people say, how do you tell somebody that they can be successful? I just look them in the eye and I say, I know you can do it because I did it and I'm going to help you the whole way. That's what it's really about. There's other challenges. You know, when I showed you the picture of my family, you only saw 5 children. And unfortunately, the reason you only saw 5 is because my son Jake, right here at the age of 21, passed away. That was 7 years ago and 1 week ago exactly, he passed away. And I can tell you the day, you know that for the rest of your life. It's the wrong order of things. Your children are not supposed to pass away before you. And you know, I had been working with the corporate team a year at that point. It was a tough time. Very tough time. And I remember Mark saying, take as much time off as you need. I remember Lauren and JR were in Taiwan, and they called me and they said, do you want us to fly home? I said, no, I got it. It'll be okay. At my son's funeral, there were over 2,500 people. Many of them Market America and franchise owners. And as I sat there, and there was a line where you greet people and you thank them for coming. And I looked out the door, and I live in a state called Wisconsin, which is cold in the winter, cold this time of year still. And I looked at the beginning of the church, and all of a sudden I saw Mark Ashley, Kevin Buckman, Dennis Franks, Anthony Akers, Andrew Weissman, Marty Weissman, who was having trouble with his legs, waited in line 2 hours. Unfranchised owners were saying, hey, we'll move you in front. Marty said, that would be disrespectful, and I won't do it. And people ask me, why do you love your corporate team? They didn't have to be there. They came there because that's the kind of team we have on our corporate team, to pay respect. You know, you see a picture, whoops, let me go back. You see a picture, whoops. Now let me go forward. You see a picture of Lisa right there. This beautiful young lady. And all of a sudden, we get married in 2004. I mean, I'm the happiest guy in the world, right? I'm like, man, did I married up, right? 2006, Lisa notices a lump on her breast. Goes to the doctor. She has breast cancer. She has to get radiation. And I know there's probably people in here who are breast cancer survivors. 30-some days in a row, she had an operation to take out the cyst. We were lucky. It was stage 1, very lucky. I went with her to every single treatment because I have this business and I didn't have to show up somewhere. I went to every treatment with her. So we didn't tell anybody about this until probably 2010. We never let anybody know because we didn't want people to think that it was an excuse of anything. She wouldn't let me tell anyone. Here's the bottom line as you look at that. We're going to have physical challenges in our life, aren't we? We're going to have issues. You see that beautiful house there? By the way, Lisa is now 12 years healthy 13 years as a cancer survivor, breast cancer survivor. So it's wonderful. You see that house there? Beautiful house. So business is going great. I own one property on the lake. I say, you know what? I'm going to buy another property on the lake because I'm going to buy it. We can live on it because it's big enough for all the 6 kids. And then we'll sell it in a couple years and we'll make some good money. Now, the only problem I had is I bought this house in 2005. Now, I don't know if Hong Kong had a crisis, but in the United States, we had a huge housing crisis. And by 2007, 2008, I could not sell that house. So now I have 2 properties that I own. Both are $1 million plus properties. I'm making great money in my business, but if you have too much debt, it's a problem. I had one thing that was always there for me. You know what that was? I could always see a light at the end of the tunnel because I had residual income. And because of that, Lisa and I made a decision. We said, okay, we're going to work this out. I went to work, and I went to work hard because we had taken it easy for a little bit. After you reach a certain level of success, I think at the time we were making $36,000 a month or so. It was like, let's kick it back. With summers, we spent with the kids. Everybody brought their kids to our house because we were home. Well, now I had to go back to work, and I worked hard at it. And it's funny, what was a horrible thing, this financial crisis, ended up being great. Because in 1 year, we made a decision to go back to work hard. We increased our income over $40,000 that year. Now people say, well, that's great, but that still doesn't take care of the issue. You know what takes care of the issue? That $40,000 coming in the next 12 years on top of what you already made because of what you did in 1 year of hard work. Do you realize what you do in 2019 may be paying you in 2040 if you really go to work this year, guys? So here's the lesson. We're all going to have challenges and issues. That's going to be something that's going to happen throughout our entire life. The difference is going to be how you react and how you respond to those. I hate to say it because I don't want to be negative, but every person in here will go through something tough in their life. How are you going to react to it? How are you going to respond to it? I live a life today that I look at and I say, do I make my son proud? And I think I do. I live a life because of what happened to Lisa where I don't take for granted that anything can happen. I live a life where I don't have to look back and regret anything because I got things taken care of ahead of time. And that's what I want you to do. Because when you take care of things ahead of time, you don't have to worry about it at that time, and you can focus on what you should focus on, which is what's important, the people you love. So will there always be challenges? Yes, there will be. My business partner, one of my mentors, Dennis Franks, he says we each have the ability to succeed. But too often we allow life to get in the way. Stay focused and stay the course, and you will achieve your goals. And I used to wonder what Dennis meant when he said stay the course. But I understand it now. Because life throws us curveballs and all sorts of things happen. And what Dennis was saying was stay focused no matter what happens. And if you stay focused, you're going to succeed. Don't stop for a year. Don't stop for 6 months. Just stay focused. It's really later than any of us think. And we should take care of it now. And we need to do it before we need it. I have so many people come up to me in my team and they'll say, I'm desperate. We need money fast. Or somebody's sick and I need to take care of them, but I can't take off. And I say, you should have built this earlier so that you could take care of it now. Build it while it's good. Build it while things are great. Build it while you're making money in your career. Build it while you're healthy. Build it while your family is good so that if anything happens, you're taken care of when it does. You know, I talked a lot yesterday about belief, because I think everything starts with belief in the company, in the way we do things, in yourself. And, you know, I want to share a story with you. And I know baseball may not be a huge sport here in Hong Kong, but use an analogy of whatever it may be. What you see here is a cover. And in 2017, so a couple years ago, the Houston Astros, who are baseball teams in the U.S., won the World Series. And you say, well, that's not incredible, Jim. Why do you have a cover of that on the, right here? Here's why it's incredible. That cover was written in 2014. See the date right there? It says June 30th, 2014. Your 2017 World Series champions will be the Houston Astros. The person on the cover right there, his name is George Springer. He ended up being the World Series MVP. But again, this is 2014. Now let me tell you about the Houston Astros in 2014. They were the losingest team in baseball. They'd lost over 100 games 3 years in a row. They were the worst. But this magazine said, I think they can be the best in 3 years because of what they have coming up, the talent, the way they're developing things like we develop people. Now, I don't, excuse me, I don't know what this company did, this organization, but I know what I would have done. If I owned the Houston Astros, or if I was managing the Houston Astros, I would have taken this cover and I would have put it everywhere that my team could see it. When they walked into the locker room, they would have seen 2017 World Series champs. When they started spring training in 2015, they would have seen 2017 World Series champs. I would have made them touch the sign as they walked out on the field. Because I believe our minds are incredibly strong. In what we believe, we can make happen. They obviously believed it. George Springer obviously believed it because they went on to win the World Series. He went on to be MVP. Do you believe what you can do? Have you created a dream board yet? And do you have it in front of you? Do you look at it? Do you share? You know, it's funny. This dream board right here is from 2004. Okay? And so some of the goals we had, Lisa and I wanted to build a new house. Then the goals got bigger. We wanted to build a house on a lake. We wanted a new car. We wanted to take trips. We wanted to have a team that was happy. We wanted a family that was happy. We wanted to keep building the business, and we wanted to get matching tattoos, but not on our backs. I want to clarify that. I do have Lisa's name right here on my arm, and she has my name right there on her arm. But we didn't see this, so we had this out for a year, and then 2005 came, we put a new dream board out. 2006 came, we put a new dream board out. Well, we went to move recently, and we found this dream board. And you know what was interesting? We achieved every single thing we had put on it. And that's why you need to visualize and figure out, where are you going? What are you gonna, people think it's silly. It's not. You have to determine what you're gonna do in your life and believe you can get there. It's something in sports that we talk about all the time. When I play tennis, I visualize winning the next point because you need to be thinking that way to go forward. Now, there's something else I think we need to talk about. We have to be able to adapt to situations. We have to have adaptability. Change is one of the only constants we will have in business. And I think this is important because sometimes when changes occur, we as an organization battle it. And I've been through this in 22 years so many different times. The leaders who understand the change and coach their team the right way are the ones who go on to earn millions and millions of dollars. The ones who don't do it are the ones who end up struggling, the ones who end up leaving, the ones who end up not getting there. And you know, I'm only telling you this because there will be change in the future again as our company goes. There always is. Anyone who's been around for a while will see it. What I love about change, and I want you to understand this, if we don't change, we die. We become like a Smith Corona typewriter. We become like a camera. How many companies have gone out of business because of the changes with a cell phone? How do you do your GPS now? You probably do it on your phone. How do you do your flashlight? You probably do it on your phone. How do you do your calculator? You do it on your phone. If you don't change, you'll end up being like those industries. So I want to make sure you keep that mindset. When something's going on, there's a great reason. Do you understand that almost every corporate official we have, our top executives, are unfranchised owners as well as corporate team members? Why is this important? Because if we make a decision, James, right, that means it's affecting our business as well. So we're making any decisions that are ever made are made so that they're made for the good of the unfranchised owner first and for the good of the company as well, so we're here long term. Those are things I really want you to know. You know, one of the funny things about our business is sometimes we don't talk to people because we're worried about what people think. Do you realize most people don't? They don't think a lot about what you're doing. And it's not that they're mean, it's not that they're bad, it's that they're busy. They're doing their own thing. They're thinking about what they're doing. Yet we don't talk to people because we're worried about what they think. Do you realize if you talk to the best people you know right now, your business would probably grow a lot faster? I was doing a moving up seminar, and it was myself, it was Kevin Buckman, and it was Lynn Mitschke. Between us, we had earned over $20 million with the company. And something interesting happened. As we were talking, we realized nobody had ever approached any of us ever about any kind of business ever before until Market America. What does that mean? That means that we were probably on the chicken list for a whole lot of people with a lot of other companies, but they never called. Who's on your chicken list right now? Who are you worried to call? Who should you call that may be looking for something? You don't know what's going on at home. You don't know what's going on behind those closed doors where they're trying to figure out what'll happen. I always laugh because I've had friends say to me, they say, you know, I thought that was a scam. I thought that was a joke. I say, you think it's a scam? I still get paid. If you think it's too good to be true, I still get paid. If you join me, we'll both get paid. If you don't join me, I still get paid, right? You have to have that confidence that you know what you have. And you have to be confident when you talk to people about it. You know, the older I get, the less I care about what people think of me. Any of you like that? You always wonder why old people are sort of They just don't care. It's because they finally realize people don't think about it, so they don't get all caught up on it. And I always say, because of that, the older I get, the more I enjoy life. So go out, when you leave this conference, go out and build the business as if you didn't care what people thought, as if you only cared about growing and building and taking care of your team and taking care of your loved ones. You know, prospecting, recruiting, and sponsoring is all a function of belief. It's not a function of technique. I'll guarantee you there's probably 100 people in here who could show the plan way better than me, who could sit down and make more sense of it, who could do a better job. But if I sponsor more, there's one reason. It's because I believe more. It's because when I see people, I feel bad if I don't recruit them, if I don't prospect them, if I don't talk to them, if I think they're a good person. There was a time, I'd been with the corporate team about 3 years, and I was sort of like I am right now. I was on a stretch where I was really busy. And I was home, and Lisa and I went out to dinner, and we're at dinner, and we had this incredible waitress. She was happy and smiling, and she took great care of us. Do you ever meet people like that? I was thinking, she's incredible. And she walked away, and I said to Lisa, I've got to prospect her. I got to get her number. I said, we need to talk to her about the business. And Lisa said, Jim, you are working night and day. You're traveling nonstop. When are we going to have time to work with this person? And I said, Lise, we'll make the time. She's a great person. She said, I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't talk to her because you're too busy. I said, Lise, here's where my mind is. I said, if I don't talk to her, I'm taking something away from her that could change her life. And I said, if you're telling me I'm too busy, then I will call tomorrow and quit my job. Because the day I can't help somebody that I think could be great at this will be the last day I ever work. And Lisa looked at me, and you know what she said? She said, well, I guess you better get that number when she comes back. And that's really what it's about. When you believe like that, you will not have any problem recruiting. For the last 22 years, I've recruited 4 to 8 new business partners every year. I'm not a huge recruiter, but I'm a good recruiter. I don't recruit 20 people, but I don't recruit 0 either. 1 a quarter to 2 a quarter on a regular basis. I do what all of you can do. And then I dig in with them, and then I work with them, and then I help them. That's what it comes down to. I'm working to generate as many coordinators as I can in my organization. That should be your goal. How many coordinators can I generate? And I'm going to tell you why, because most people have a goal, and you know what their goal is? They look at it and they say, I want to be a director. How fast can I get to director? What do I need to do to get to director? The way you become a director is you create more coordinators. Because when you create more coordinators, what will you naturally create? More executive coordinators. And when you create more executive coordinators, what will you create? You'll create more master coordinators. And as you have more and more people earning money, you will hit director because you've helped a whole bunch of other people have success. People always ask me, how does someone like Joanne, how does she become so successful? You know how you become successful in this business? You become successful by helping more people become successful. I mean, I have watched James for years travel to different countries for months at a time because he digs in with the team. You help people become successful, you become successful. Take the focus off of you, you become the one who leads all these people to be stars. Let them have the limelight. Let them be the star. Push them to be better and you'll be better. To do that, you got to become mentally tough enough. And I talked yesterday about mental toughness, didn't I? Because it's not easy. We're here right now and everything is awesome. It's like we're ready to tear it up. We're going to go out. We're going to build this business. Then a week from now, we get scared again a little bit to talk to people. Here's how you become mentally tough enough. You buy your tickets. And you buy your tickets at every event. And I talked yesterday about buying 3. I'm going to challenge some of the people in here. Who's going to go and try to hit the Chairman's Challenge? Chairman's Challenge is 10 tickets, isn't it, for our next event? It's 10 tickets. Who's going to step up and say, I'm going to push myself. I'm going to go after it. I'm going to be a Chairman's Challenge winner. Because you know what? I heard Elizabeth Weber say that she'd hit it every year since she had started when I was sitting on that stage. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be a Chairman's Challenge winner. And I hit it 9 times after that because I bought the tickets and I did the work. And that's all you have to do. It's not just buying the tickets, it's buying the tickets and doing the work. The person with the most people at the event wins. We've talked about that. You know, and it comes down, I call them hours. If you're here by yourself, you've been here for 2 days, you may have gotten, well, what do you think, 20 hours of training if we round it up? But what if you're here with 10 people? Then it's 200 hours of training. What if you're here with 100 people? Then it's 2,000 hours of training. And that's how your mind has to work. I'm getting paid on the number of hours I'm getting people to the events. Because you can judge the growth of your organization by the number of people you have there. This has to be our culture. This has to be the way we do it because that's the way you'll grow the fastest. So pick those tickets up. I'm not going to talk about them anymore. I'm going to assume that you are going to get them. I know we're almost at a sellout. I talked to Anthony just before I came in. So if you're thinking I want to make sure I have mine, don't hesitate. Go get them. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Come back in. You'll still be able to hear me because I talk loud anyway, right? Commitment and discipline, is that important to a business? I see a lot of heads nodding. I agree with you. It's easy to be excited for a moment, but you show me your routines, your habits, and your rituals, and I'll show you your future. Do you wake up and do something positive? Do you read? Do you listen to audios? Do you talk to one prospect a day? Do you show 1 or 2 plans a week? Your habits will make the business. You have to do something to become successful on a daily basis. That's a key for you. You always have to do something. It can be a little bit. Some days are crazy, I know that. But you do have to do something. You can't stop and start in this business. You need to show up, and I'm talking to the good people. You know, it's always hard for me because I'm talking to the best people in the world because you're the people here. And I think I'm really trying to talk through you to the people who aren't here and to what I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to talk to your future people so that you talk to them the same way and let them know that we need to be there. Don't let life get in the way of living. Give it your all for 2 to 3 years and do it right. Do it right. Wouldn't it be great to say, I did it right? When I started, the lady, Marta Arkebauer, who started helping me, and I said to Marta, I said, I'm going to do this for 12 months. 12 months, 1 year. And I said, if you lied to me, I will quit 1 year from today. She didn't lie to me. She told me what I had to do. She didn't sugarcoat it. She told me it was going to be hard. She told me I was going to have to put effort in. But she also told me if I did it, I would have the greatest life. I'm so glad she was honest with me because I feel like I've had the greatest life because of what I did to get this business building. And I feel like you can have that too. So remember, your 2 to 3 year plan starts over again every time you miss an event. So just put it in the calendar. It's like going to work. If you don't show up for work, would you get fired? Could you miss work for like 2 weeks in a row and then just come? It wouldn't work out, would it? So you have to show up, same thing with the business. Consistent. Let's talk about leadership a little bit. You know, as you start to grow a business, leadership becomes vital. And I've always believed you need to be inconvenient for 2 to 3 years to be convenient for the rest of your life. So you need to be inconvenient for 2 to 3 years to be convenient for the rest of your life. Stay focused on the basics to get there. If you can stay focused on the basics, you're going to be able to do everything. show the business plan, use and share the products, attend and promote the events, and work in the groups to get there. I know I'm showing this slide a couple times, and I'm doing it for a reason. It's because I want to imprint on your mind what we need to do on a regular basis. You know, I think success leaves clues. Would you guys agree with that? You had so many great leaders up here. I love the recognition part. I love the awards that were given out. And you know, if you studied and you could see what they do, you'd see why they won those awards. But I think leadership is a key to everything we do. And you know, one of the clues is leaders lead from the front. There's a difference between a boss and a leader, isn't there? A boss tells you what to do. A leader shows you what to do. When I look out and I see our leaders in there, I love our leaders that are sitting in the first couple rows. And I'm going to tell you why I love them. Because they're sitting there. They're not sitting there because they're learning so much new. They're sitting there because they're leading. They're sitting there because they're showing their team what to do. They're sitting there because that's what leadership is staying focused and showing and doing what you want your team to do. Your long-term income will be determined by the example you set and the things you do. I mentioned yesterday, 22 years in a row, I show up at a weekly UBP if I'm in town. Do you think I want to go there do you think I'm at home and it's Tuesday afternoon and I'm like, man, I can't wait to get to that UBP? There's days I do not want to be there. There's times I'm tired. I'm flying home from Malaysia on a Monday. I will get home Monday night. I will be at the UBP on Tuesday exhausted. Not because I wanted to, but because I wanted to set the right example. Because if I'm there, have I eliminated every excuse from everybody else that they can't be there? And that's what leaders do. They eliminate excuses by doing what others won't. Don't be a boss. People have one they don't like already. Be what I call a servant leader. That means you don't talk about leadership. You prove leadership to them by helping them, by being there for them, by working with them, by doing the activities that back it up. You don't manage people. People want to go into management. You don't manage people. You lead people and you manage things. You want to become a great leader or a great income earner with our business? Do the things you expect your group to do. It's so funny. Sometimes I'll have people come up to me and they'll say, my group doesn't buy tickets. And I'll say, then go buy some tickets. My group doesn't recruit. I'll say, then go recruit some people. My group doesn't retail. I'll say, then go retail. And they'll get frustrated with me, and they'll say, why do you say that? I say, because you have to do what you want them to do. Or you got to find new people and teach them how to do it right. Either way will work, okay? But you have to do it or find new people. If you're a leader, by the way, you're not creating followers. Leaders don't create followers. Real leaders create new leaders. So you look at your organization. Do you have people who are growing? Do you have people who are hitting new levels with the company? Do you have people who are stepping up in the GMTSS to support it? Do you have people that are taking new positions of leadership in the area? If you don't, you're creating followers. And you want to create leaders. That'll be a key to long-term income. Leaders work with people at the level they're at. So let me explain what I mean by that. Sometimes, like when I was new and I wanted to go really fast, I had to learn that not everyone wanted to move at my speed. Some people wanted to go slower, and I had to learn, I had to work with them at a slower pace. I think sometimes we make a mistake. We get mad at the people who don't want to move as fast as we do. And what I want you to understand is you have to work with everybody at the pace they're at. I have people on my team who've been on my team 22 years. They don't want to build a big business. They want a little business. But you know what? When I see them, I give them a big hug. I tell them I love them. I'm so excited to see them. And they love being at the events. You know why? Because they feel appreciated. We live in a world where people are not appreciated. Would you agree with that? Where bosses don't appreciate employees. So work with people where they're at and appreciate every one of them, because the truth of the matter is your business is going to be 80% people who love and use the product and build a little business, and 20% people like you and I who want to go out and really get after this the right way. Have good listening skills. Stop worrying about talking all the time and start worrying about listening to people so you can hear what they say. Have empathy. Do you know what empathy is? Empathy means you understand, but it doesn't mean you necessarily agree. Okay? There's a lot of times I get calls from leaders in the field, and I will have empathy. I will tell them, I understand what you're saying. But they also know I'm very honest. And I'm more likely to say, I understand, but I don't agree. Because I manage a team as well, and my team is not having this problem. And they're not having this problem because of the way I am handling it. And if you handle it the same way, you will not have the problem. And sometimes that means it's not an easy thing to do, but it's the right thing to do, to support them, but not to agree with them. You have to have problem-solving skills. Guess who makes the most money? I said the people who help the most people. Well, the people who help the most people are the people who solve the most problems. Sometimes you feel like you're an adult psychologist, don't you? I mean, dealing with people and their issues. I mean, you know what our plan is? My friend Kevin Buckman always says this. He says the plan is perfect. The only thing that messes it up is the people. Would you guys agree with that? So the plan is perfect. So you need to have problem-solving skills. You got to work with people. You need to care. You need to have integrity in what you do. You need to do it honestly. You need to do it the right way. People always ask me, how do you recruit more? I said, be honest and have great integrity, and you'll recruit a lot more in your business. Don't hype things up. Don't make things that are fake. Be honest with people. Be always learning. If you want to be a leader, you are always learning. You're always growing, and you're always leading by example. What are the benefits of all this business growth we're talking about? You know, for some of you, I hope you understand this, it's more friends. Lisa and I got married in 2004. We had 33 people. We did a destination wedding. So we got married in Jamaica. We had 33 people there with us. 31 of them were Market America business owners. 2 of them were guests of my best friend. He just said, hey, I'm going to this wedding. It's going to be a blast. Do you want to come on vacation with us? Those 2 people were in the business within 6 months. Can you imagine the friends you develop in this business, or the friends you would not have? You know, one of the most powerful exercises I ever did was an exercise of writing down where my life would be if I didn't have this business. Think about that. Where would you be if you didn't have this business? And when I did it, I didn't like the answers. More family, better health. You know, it's funny, I laugh. I can tell people who've been on our products. You see someone on our products for 20 years and someone not on our products 20 years, the person not on the products looks way older and it never seems to be as healthy. I mean, look at Vicky. What are you? Vicky's looks like she's 40. Sense of purpose. You know, part of life is having purpose, knowing where you're going. People ask me when I'll retire. Someday I'll retire from my corporate job, but I will never retire from building the business because that's my purpose. That's what I want to do. Lisa laughs. She knows it. You want to have options in life. Many of us have a full-time job. You want to have options. You want to have security. I'll tell you, a job's not security. You know what's security? This business is security. Build this up to director level and see if you feel secure with it. Personal growth. You will become more. If you want to make more, you have to become more. You have to grow. That's the only reason some people move faster than other people when they start. They're already in a different position of personal growth. So if you're not there, you have to grow while you do it. JR always says, you have to lead by example. You must succeed so others can realize their dreams. Here's what I need. I need more directors in Hong Kong. I need new executive directors, new field vice presidents. I need new nationals. I need you to lead the way. Don't be happy where you're at. Make a decision. You're going to move that next level by the time we get to the annual convention. Make the decision that you're going to show people it's possible. You know, one of the reasons I've always continued to grow, I must have a nasty mind sometimes. But the reasons I've continued to grow is I love to show people who told me to say things like, oh, you only got to the level you're at because you started, 5 years after the company started. So when I was a national supervising coordinator, people would say to me, well, if I would have started when you started, I'd be good. So then when I hit director and I'm making $8,000 more a month than I was before, I'd call them back up again. And I'd say, I'd love you to look at the business. I'm now a director. Because what I was telling them as I was talking to them is it didn't matter when you started. What mattered is what you did with it. And I like showing people that at any point in your life, you can make that change and you have the ability to do it. It sounds great, but suddenly we have doubts. It's harder than we thought. We go home and someone who wasn't here on your team quits. You start thinking, what if it doesn't work for me? My people don't listen. My people don't do anything. It's not going fast enough. Has anyone ever had thoughts like this ever before in your life? It's funny, James raises his hand, making $100,000 a month, and most people didn't. I did. And I think sometimes you hit a crossroads in your business. And when you hit that crossroads, you have to make a decision. You have to decide where you want to go. Some people decide they're going to take a break. They'll slow down a little bit. You ever seen people do this? I'll slow down. They start hanging around negative people. You know why they hang around negative people? It justifies their decision to give up. They stop attending trainings and meetings. They say, well, I've done that for a while and it hasn't paid off yet. Yeah, they're the same people who went to 8 years of school and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to come out and get a job in a different field. They start making excuses and they settle. They start to say things like, well, this is good enough. Good enough are two words that are horrible. Because when you start saying it's good enough, you're saying I stopped dreaming. I'm not going to do anymore. 10 years from now, they'll still be complaining about the same things in life, telling everyone, man, I could never get a break. You don't understand. My life was hard. I never had an opportunity, even though they were in your business at some point and had the same opportunity you have. Some people will do the opposite. They'll renew their commitment. Some of you will do that this weekend. You'll make a decision. You'll say, I'm going to do more. You'll try twice as hard. You'll do more than you were doing before. You'll read better books. You'll listen to better audios, and you'll start to grow as a person more. You'll only hang around positive people. I will tell you, I have a hard time with negative people. I don't do well with them. And if I have a lot of negative people, I eliminate them from my life. I don't have time for them. You know, we get one go around. I'm not going to spend my life with people who are negative all the time. They attend every training and meeting they can, and they decide to never give up. They take constructive criticism. You know, one of the things JR has always talked about is measure, monitor, and adjust. But to do that, sometimes you have to take a good look, or you have to take the criticism of somebody trying to coach you and say, you know what, you need to do more of this. There's times I get frustrated because, see, Lisa understands the business so well. She'll tell me what I'm not doing right, and it makes me mad. And then I think about it for like an hour or two, and I think she's right. And you know why she's telling me? Because she wants our business to be better. And I have to take that criticism if I'm going to do what I need to do to build this business the way it should be. Take personal responsibility. This is a major problem in our society today. People blame everything else. Everything that happens is a problem. You know, when I bought that house and the market crashed, I didn't blame the market. Guess who I blamed? I blamed me. I made a bad financial decision. Those are things you have to take personal responsibility. If you're not where you want to be, decide to do it. Work harder, care deeper, and help more people. Strive instead of settle. Strive to do more. 10 years from now, you'll have a life you've always dreamed of. And you know what's funny? Everyone will say, oh, you got lucky. Isn't that crazy? You will have worked incredibly hard, and they'll say you'll get lucky. So if they're gonna say it anyway, I just say, let's decide to get lucky. Do you guys agree? Who wants to get lucky? Yeah, I'm with you. I say it's time Hong Kong goes into beast mode. This was a picture of YK when he was a baby that I got, doing a one-arm push-up. So here's the truth. The truth is it takes effort and hard work. The truth is there's no shortcut. The 2 to 3 year plan is the shortcut, guys. People keep trying to shortcut the 2 to 3 year plan. That doesn't work. It's a 2 to 3 year plan. Sometimes it's a 4 to 5 year plan. I don't care what it is. It's all less than 45 to 50 years. You have to do something on a regular basis. You have to make a commitment. You can't just think about it. Thinking about it's the hardest thing. Is it worth it to put that effort in? I think it is, and I think it is for many reasons. You know, many years ago, in 2005, Lisa and I drew out what we wanted to be our perfect home. We drew it out, we had the blueprints made, we knew exactly what we wanted. Then we bought that other house, had the financial issues we dealt with. Then we kept building the business, kept building the business, kept building the business. My computer screen for 10 years was the blueprints of my house I wanted to have. Last year, we completed that house and moved into the house in July of 2017. It sits on a beautiful lake. It has a tennis court. It has a pool. It has a room for May Rong. It has a room for when people come to visit to stay with us. And that was our dream, to have that house, and the business has allowed us to do that. There's a picture of that's where, if you call me, I work. That's my office. And this is my view outside of the office. And that's an untouched photo. That's a photo. Nothing's been done to it. That's the view I look out of on a daily basis. We've been able to travel the world as a family, which is important to me. My kids become worldly, and they learn there's more to the world than just where they live. I've had the ability to do like I'm doing today and speak and train, which I love to do. It's one of my passions. It's a way I feel I give back. And those are all wonderful, wonderful things. But for me, that's not the real reason. It's just, there's more than material things. As much as I love the house, as much as I love many of the things, here are the reasons. I get to hang out with the person I love on a regular basis. I have the time to do it. I have the time where we can be together. So many people are married and they never see each other. To me, that's not the environment I wanted. I have the ability, this is my dad now at 81 years old. And we play a couple national tournaments a year. We were actually in the United States for father and son teams where your dad is 80. We were the 10th ranked team in the United States last year. So it's given me the ability to spend the time with him to do the things I want to do. Because the one thing you don't give back, excuse me, is time. You never get it back. It's given me the ability to travel with my family and to spend time with them as they've gotten older, and to take vacations, things that cost money. You know, people talk about time, but the way you get time is by having the ability to have some money to do those things. This right here is my sister-in-law, Lynn. Lynn was a director of clinical nursing for 29 years. 29 years. Great job, started this business. In 23 months, she matched her income part-time with what she was making full-time. She quit her job, and on the first day she quit, she called Lisa, and she's crying. And she called her, and the reason she was crying is she was driving somewhere, and she said, I just realized for 29 years I didn't have a window in my office. And now I'm driving somewhere with the windows open. And she realized what the rest of her life was going to be. She made more money in her first 10 years in Market America than she made in 29 years as a director of clinical nursing. And she said, more important than that, she said, I helped more people in my first 10 years. So now I've had the ability to work with my sister-in-law for 21 years, and she's a multi-million-dollar earner with the company. This here is a young lady named Kay Zhu. Joanne, I know you know her as well. Wonderful young lady, started this business when she was about 26 years old. By the time she was 30, she was a director with the company. Her goal is to help other people. She was already doing well financially, but she wanted to give back to that. I love the fact that I can find someone and meet people and help them gain what they want to get at a young age. She's going to have 50 years of residual income. Think about that, Vicki. Imagine being a director by 30 and having 50 to 60 years of residual income that'll keep coming in if you just keep your hand on the pump and keep going with it. This young lady here, his name is Trina White. Trina actually just stayed at our house for about 5 days recently. Wonderful lady. She's grown the business to professional coordinator. When I met her, she was living in her car. She was homeless because she left a battered relationship where her husband had physically assaulted her and she had no place to live. She took this business. She's now grown it to a level of professional coordinator. I'm going to tell you, she's got her sights. We went through her goals. Her goal is to hit national supervising coordinator by the end of the year, and I do not think there's any way she'll be able to stop it. And her goal is to give back to other people. You know what she does with the extra money she makes? She gives it to charities. A huge percentage of every dollar that comes in. This young lady right here, her name is Shelley Bowe. If you ever get a chance to hear Shelley speak, boy, I'll tell you, what a wonderful thing to hear. But Shelley grew the business to about supervising coordinator. Then she did what a lot of people do. She sort of kicked back, took it easy. Business dropped a little bit. She got serious. She started building it again. Business started going up. She was on a moving up seminar with me in New York. And all of a sudden, my phone rang at 4 in the morning. And Shelley said, I need to see you right now. So got up, she came over. Her husband, Tony, who's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, has an alcohol problem, a drinking problem. She had left him home with the kids to come to the Moving Up seminar. He'd been arrested for his 5th drunk driving ticket. Shelley said, what do I do? He's going to jail for a long time. She was the local coordinator in her area. She said, how do I hold my head up and talk to people when everyone's going to know this happened? And she still loves her husband. 6, 7 years ago. And I said, Shelley, what you're going to do is you're going to hold your head up high. You're going to take care of your family by building the business. And you're going to determine what's going to happen with you and Tony. And if you determine you're going to stay together, you're going to get them a lot of help. If you determine you're not, but you're in control of this, nobody else. Shelley Bowe has now, 6 years later, grown the business. She'll hit director in the next couple months. During that time that Tony was in jail, her income grew by over $50,000 a year. Tony came out, got the help he needed. They have an incredible, wonderful relationship. And I'm proud of both of them for doing what they had to do to take care of the issues they had. This is a couple named Tom and Carol Schneider. Man, I love these guys. They've been in my business for 18 years almost. 18 years. Tom was about 50 years old approximately when he looked at I showed him the plan. When he looked at the business, I showed him for somebody else. And I said, "Why do you want to do the business, Tom?" And his answer was, "I want to be home with my family." He made a huge amount of money, but all he did was travel. Kids are growing up, never home. I said, "All right, we can do it if you'll go to work." In 4 years, he hit professional coordinator. Not the money he was making in his job, but enough money because he had saved a lot to come home. So he quit his job and he was home. Kept building the business. 1 year after he came home, Carol, right there, was diagnosed with cancer. She battled cancer for 12 straight years. 12 straight years. Finally, she lost last year in September. But Tom told me, he said, "Jim," he said, "without this business, I wouldn't have been able to leave my job. I wouldn't have been able to be with her. He spent 12 years where he spent 365 days a year with her. He has no regrets, nothing. People ask me, what's worth it? What's worth it are the stories I'm telling you, the people you affect, what you can do. So many people never can touch another human being and make a difference in their life. And what you do may touch thousands, if not millions of people. So it's worth it. Every bit of the time it takes for you to build is worth it. I don't know what the future holds for any of us. I hope it's great for every one of us. I do know time goes really quick. Because boy, I think this was just yesterday. And now those 6 kids look like this. And, time is going to go by either way. It's something Lisa always says to me. She says, time is going to go by either way. Why not do something that matters? Wouldn't you agree with me on that? If you're still looking for the one person to change your life, here's who I want you to look for. Take a look in the mirror. You're the person that can change your life. You're the one who can make the difference. You don't need a new year to make a change. All you need is Monday. Guess what tomorrow is? It's Monday. I end every time I speak with this story. It says, be thankful for what you have. I wake up every day, and one of the first things I do is I have gratitude for what I have in my life. Be creative. Be innovative. Think differently and think positively. When life gives you 100 reasons to cry, show life you have 1,000 reasons to smile. Today, you are my 1,000 reasons to smile, guys. Face your past without regret. Handle your present with confidence. Prepare for the future without fear. And always remember, the choice is yours, what you want to do and where you want to go. It's up to you. From our team at Market America, we want to say to you, it really is a wonderful life. Go out and make it happen. Thank you so much for having us here. You guys are great, and I've enjoyed you so much.